For the people who don't know who you are, do you want to give yourself an introduction?
Sure. I'm Fitzy here. I'm here right now. I'm a main.
Hello.
Wait, no, I'm not. Symmetra main. No, Sombre main.
Now
Yeah, I've actually been
Sombermain.
playing a lot of the Symmetra recently. I think it's a translocator with a two-way teleporter.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm known for my Sombre gameplay. Not doing so hot recently.
No?
The past couple weeks with the Hanzo's been getting to me. He's been getting to me because
He's a bit strong right now, isn't he?
he's pretty strong, and Somber just doesn't offer anything to like winning team fights.
What is Hanzo's weakness?
Uh, I'm supposed to ask you that question. Come on.
I'm trying to find out myself. But no.
But yeah, like there's just nothing that Sombra really offers to contest him. So then, what do you do as Sombra? Because you can't kill the Zen because there's a Zarya and the. I'm going on a rant. I'm supposed
No,
to
it's
explain
good.
who I
No, it's please keep going.
am. But no, Sombra just like right now is just not amazing, and then she's getting the buffs to the PTR that are going to go live next week, and then they're not still fixing her bugs and blah blah blah. So.
Yeah, she's a bit of a mess, isn't she, with all the crazy bugs and inconsistencies. I saw you had made a post based off of all of the things that her hack can do compared to I forget what else, but yeah, she's a bit of a mess.
Yeah,
I'm
I made
sure.
lots of posts for inconsistencies.
Lots of posts.
But
But
yeah, I stream pretty much 5 days a week. I do a morning stream and morning stream and an evening stream. So
and like you said, you're primarily known for your Sombre gameplay, but you do play and are very highly ranked on a couple other heroes as well, including May.
correct. I've played. I actually started out as a main because 60 FPS and well, my computer couldn't really handle Overwatch that well at the beginning. So it turns out if you just flick shot, then you
Yep.
know you
Flick
don't have
shots
to
are
see all those
easier on
frames.
FPS, right?
Yes,
And
and then
especially if they're standing still after having been frozen, even
well,
easier.
and Overwatch is actually my first FPS,
Same
so
here, actually. You have
didn't have
really
to.
good aim for this being your first FPS.
I mean, I've been playing it a lot, so yeah.
Wow. Because your aim, especially your tracking on Sombra, is
It's not anything amazing.
it's
It has its moments, but it's not my shining star, I guess, or my highest quality.
like there's certainly people with better tracking, but what's your peak on Sombra? You got
What
to
rank am I?
yeah, you
Yeah,
were
I hit rank 5 after the.
yeah, you hit rank 5. Nobody gets to rank
What?
5 with shitty tracking,
What?
Fitzy.
I
Calm your
mean, Summer,
tits.
you can do other things.
You
yeah,
like
that
you
was,
still have to actually kill people when you decloak and take the
Right,
1v1s. Like, there's a
right.
lot of 1v1s and matchups that happen when you're playing Sombra. So don't tell me you can't
Right.
consistently
Well, it was
1v1 top 500s. Okay, Fitz, my tracking isn't all that.
well. To see, you can kind of avoid your counters and manipulate the game to where you can avoid the people that could kill you
Mm-hmm.
as Somber. Whereas like other DPS heroes, you kind of have to contest that person, and so it's kind of a battle of like beating that other person. Whereas I can just beat the entire team as a whole. So that's where Sombra enables that, and May kind of enables that of like you're enabling your team to do the work. So I use more of the game sense side of the game as opposed to strictly the tracking and the mechanics of it.
And May is also getting a buff on the 24th, right? Fall off is being removed from right click. Were you around during the days of season 2 Sniper May?
So I played. I mean, I've played since season 1, so I have been around since then. And yeah, she's had season 1 and 2. She was pretty decent.
Yeah, she was really good in season 1 and 2.
Yeah. So yes, I have been around during that. That was when I played May as my main, and then I played Anna when she came out. Like what I would do is I'd play Anna on attack and May on defense, and I would full hold like that first Dorado and Hanamura, and like there was maps where I was like, well, I'm just going to full hold. It's easy.
Yep.
I just could consistently full hold, and I give this advice to people. I was whatever the diamond was at the time, which is like now masters because of SR inflation and stuff. Because like when
Hold
the
on a
first
second. I want to
Diamond
explain
stuff
that to
came out.
chat. Chat, if you ever look at somebody's old rankings from like season 2 and season 3, the bell curve used to be a lot more grouped in the fact that top 500, like almost no one was in bronze, and Grandmaster, like if you hit Grandmaster, you were definitely top 500. So like,
Right.
it
Well, I
was,
think the bottom of top 500 was like
yeah,
3,800.
it was 37, 38. Somewhere there was originally the start of top 500 in those early seasons. And then after season 3, they spread out the bell curve. So people actually were in bronze who weren't actively trying to get there. And then there was actually a gap between Grandmaster and top 500. So anyway, keep going, Fitzy.
Um, so at the time, the Diamond slash Master. But I think I played more of a play to not lose instead of play to win.
Okay.
And I try to give that advice to people who.
That's kind of Evil Toaster gives that advice as well with his infinite monkey theory.
What is that?
So Evil Toaster, this is like the number one thing that he always gives as advice to people, especially as a tank player. He's just kind of like, live as long as you can, don't die, and then given a long enough time frame, your mindless monkeys will win the game for you.
Right. Well, and you don't need to. There's times when you need to make the play. Like you're put into a situation where it's do or die. Like you have to clutch it, but don't try to go for those risky plays.
So you
that
avoid
don't
the
gain
high risk, high
value.
reward plays.
Yes.
So you just play it safe. You play to not lose.
Now, when I'm trying to climb more, you have to go for more of those risk plays.
Yeah.
But early on, like in the Diamond Master level, I think that's where people have gotten this mindset of like, I'm climbing. I need to clutch it to climb instead of just like,
Just do
oh,
your job.
fine. Yeah.
Do
You
it
don't need
well.
to make all these flashy plays. You just combo your ultimates.
Yeah, it's what I always, especially when main tank became a lot more of a bitch to play. People kept asking me like, how do I Rhine against like Doom and Brig and all these different stun heroes? And I always tell them it's a lot like running away from a bear, in that you don't actually have to run faster than the bear. You just have to run faster than
Yeah.
the slowest other guy, and the slowest other guy is the opposing main tank. So you don't have to do well on main tank. You just have to do better than the other main tank. And if you're consistently performing better than your mirror on the enemy team, you'll climb. Regardless of any other factor. If you are a better main tank than the main tanks you are playing against, you will climb. End of story.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to read a couple messages that I missed, and then we'll hop into this VOD. Did you hear about the details of this VOD?
I have not.
I will share
Except
that.
for, I
It's
think,
very
their
fascinating.
GM?
Very fascinating. But OW Mutant Gun with the 200 bits has had some bits left. Thanks for helping community grow and improve. You're very welcome. Pugnacious Paladin with the $5 says, hey, Jayne, I heard about your divorce with Dio. Sorry I haven't been there for you during this difficult time, but I finally caught your stream for the first time, and I'm here to support you emotionally. Love you, man. I don't know where you're getting your information from. I'm pretty sure in order to get divorced, you had to be married in the first place. Or, yeah, so thanks for your support, I guess. But for those wondering, Dio and I are just friends. We played on the University of Calgary TESPA team together, and we've never been involved in a relationship. And then Mig with the $20, no message. So I appreciate that. But this, the May VOD that we are looking at. Okay, so what are the details here? So 800 hours on May, currently ranked 3950, has been Grandmaster before. And the message that was submitted with the VOD reads as such. I am very much a May main, possibly even a one-trick. I play May wherever I can, even if a different pick might be more ideal. I do swap if I'm doing especially poor or if we need a healer. I don't ever play tank or other DPS. I've now played about 800 hours of May. I've played her almost exclusively since Season 2. In Season 1, I played Tracer. I've been the same SR for the last few seasons. I've definitely hit my ceiling. My biggest weakness, other than playing May in the first place, is absolutely my communication. I hardly chat, I never use voice chat at all. My aim is mostly decent most of the time, but some games it can be pretty poor. Another weakness is that I sometimes forget about my team. May can do well by herself, but the higher rank I get, the more I get punished for being out of position. I honestly don't think I will ever communicate well, even with proper practice. It's simply not my thing. So I want to learn how to get better at playing with my team without communication on a hero that does benefit from communication. Just quick pause. Do you agree with that? Do you think May requires a lot of communication and coordination?
Definitely.
Definitely. I also struggle with using my ultimate at the right time. It might also come down to the reliability of May's ultimate, but I feel my ultimates are very inconsistent. The game I submitted, I feel like I played decent. My aim was a little wonky, but my walls were good. I feel like we could have won the game, but I am not certain why we didn't. We got picks, but were never able to do anything with it. So, general thoughts on that?
I mean, I play Sombre. I'm all for communication. I call out every single hack I do for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
I think May has a similar aspect of, you need to know when a wall is like, okay, that wall is a good wall, go. But if your team doesn't, like, your team never plays with May. No one plays with May. They don't know. So if you don't tell them that it's a good wall, they have no idea. So they're like, you're 50-50 shot of they're going to go for it and it's good, or they're going to go for it and it's bad. And if they go for it and it's bad, then you look like you're throwing. Then they're pissed at you. Now you've got team morale down. If they go for it and it's good, and you could have the fact that it's a good wall and they don't go for it. And it's just, think that the communication is a big aspect of May. But I think it's a big aspect of any hero.
And there's a lot of mention about aim, and it's one of the things that I at least suggest, but I would be interested in hearing your opinion about it, is a lot of lower level Mays will always try and left click and freeze things before they go for the right click. How often are you trying to find right clicks on unfrozen targets? Like, how important it is to actually land your icicles on moving targets?
So, naturally, it depends on the map, depends on the heroes you're playing against. You don't really want to necessarily try to right-click a Hanzo for very long. That might change now that she has 0 damage fall off, but in theory, the Hanzo will kill you before you kill him.
Mm-hmm.
It's still, he can hit that Chad shot. But things like, do you really want to sit there and right-click a Reinhardt if you can just freeze him?
Yeah.
Can you? So it's situational. No, should you always try to go for the left click? No. Like, if they've got a Widow, you can just sit there and snipe her back because they're not moving very fast. Projectile, you don't have to really worry about it. So yeah, go for the right clicks more, and that'll especially be true after the fall off damage is non-existent. But you can make up for it in the clutch, like in the team fights. You don't have to be like, oh no, my aim's bad. What am I doing? As long as you're freezing targets and kind of, distracting them, having this crowd control, then you can offer more in the clutch fights. If you're like, if you get nervous during, the overtime scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
Typically your aim will get worse as you get more nervous in those fights.
So just one moment here. I see that Mitzi's in chat. When I have a guest on, I'll do the review with the guest, and then if the person who submitted the VOD wants to come on at the end and kind of ask any questions of Fitzy or myself, then we'll do that. But if we have a guest reviewer on, I like to just keep it one-on-one. We tried it once to have both the guest reviewer and the VOD reviewee, I suppose, in call at the same time, and it did not work out very well. But
trial and error.
Is there anything that we should discuss before we jump right into the VOD?
I'd say we just go for it.
Well, say we just go for it. Chat is requesting that you turn your volume up just a little bit more, which I can't do because you're already max on my end.
Well, I'll just have to talk louder.
I guess you'll just have to talk louder. Okay. Are there any maps where May is a no-go? Question from chat. Or, better question, what aspects of a map makes it poor for May?
So big open maps can be difficult. If you think about like King's Row, the width of the map, of the path of the cart, is very good for May because you can wall off and section off at any point of that map. For the most part, except for phase 3 where you can take the high ground if the cart's going by. So I think accessibility to high ground, can your wall provide you to get high ground where the normal DPS heroes wouldn't be able to get to? If you think about again, like King's Row, the last point, you can actually get on that high ground using your ice wall on top of the cart, and you can kind of contest the Hanzo or Widow, whoever's up there. I think there's a lot of maps like that you can like get to the high ground. But what you're looking for is a choke point. Can you like section off a team if they're trying to do a push down whatever lane there or whatever avenue they're going to push, and then what team compositions you use to run there. If you're against dive, it can be tough naturally because they just jump over your wall.
What if the team composition you're with is a Orisa Zarya on a Brigitte Zen?
You've got some synergy here.
Okay, what are the synergies?
Well, the Orisa pool, you can slow them down, and then you can also, throw your Blizzard when they Orisa pool. You can also combo Blizzard with Grav. The Zarya bubble can keep you up after your Cryo Freeze. Brig can keep you out of one-shot range with her armor pack from snipers, and then because you have 250 health.
Yep.
And then Zen, you can transcend and freeze people and not have to worry about taking the damage.
Okay. And then Horizon Lunar Colony. Good map, bad map. Mostly people
I'm assuming
hold.
This is the new version.
Yes, it's the new version. So most people hold on the high ground with Mei, not with Mei, but just in general. But with Mei, you'd probably want to be holding on the point, or is there somewhere else you'd want to set up?
High ground. So something about when they're pushing on this map, they'll either go left or right, and regardless, you can wall them off while they're trying to transition.
Oh, catch them in transition with the wall.
Right. So like it'll be a Reinhardt, whatever is moving to the. Well, after we stop punching these bananas, we'll see. When they're moving, if we're looking, they're moving from left to right. Or I feel like that's a fairly normal. I don't know. I don't think that people have figured out necessarily how to play on this map yet.
Do you see where the supports are? Yeah.
But you can put a vertical wall rather, and it'll split. So like the Reinhardt's in front. Now they don't. Now the people in the back don't have a shield, and that buys you enough time to just get one pick. Really, all you need to do is get one pick. Yeah. I mean, obviously Mercy can res that, but it buys you enough time to get enough chip damage.
And with the meta being double sniper here, Mei's pretty weak, at least in her current state because of the fall off against the Hanzo and the Widowmaker. How do you really play against them? Are you trying to use the walls to kind of cut off their sight lines?
So right there, you could have. I don't know what we were trying to wall before, like the Junkrat. Okay, instead of going for that, I feel like we wall off the Reinhardt and take advantage of the offensive scenario.
Yeah, so right here, as they tried to kind of like push through, splitting their team.
Right. So they're because the Junk's on his own. Like you're splitting him. You're not really splitting him off from anybody. You're just slowing him down.
Yeah. So instead of like delaying the damage that you're going to be taking anyway from the Junkrat, you're trying to use the wall in order to actually secure an elimination, not delay the inevitable.
Right. And there's sometimes where that scenario is true. Like if they've got a Widow and you can just wall off the Widow and they won't be able to participate for 5 seconds, that gives you enough time to get close and not have to worry about getting sniped. And then right here, if you're up on the high ground already, you can section that Rhine off. And even right there, if you put a vertical wall, you just section both the tanks off from the rest of the team. And
how do you actually take advantage of that? Do you just call for your team to do it? Because one of the things. No. Go ahead.
That's just you're enabling your team. You put the vertical wall, both the tanks are in front, and then your team is naturally going to shoot them, and their shield is going to die, and your shield doesn't have as much pressure. It's not a mere matchup right now, but even in that scenario, like, Rissa, Ryan, they trade evenly-ish. But if you're stopping all of the Junkrat from hitting your team, or hitting your shield rather. Oh no, I guess we do have a Rhino now. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Then you're going to kill their shield faster, and then you're overall going to win the fight because the shield is dead.
That's an unlucky death.
Makes sense.
Yes,
yeah.
It does. That is a true unluckers. But there was one question in chat, and it was commenting about Graviton and Blizzard, in that normally I recommend not to combo CC ultimates. So, for example, you don't want to be comboing Graviton and Hammer. which admittedly there are times in which you do want to do that. But the question is, do you really want to combo Blizzard with Graviton since they're both technically CC ultimates?
Yeah, May's CC is Blizzard is it's questionable consistency. Mainly because most of the cast can leave the leave the Blizzard.
Yep.
You have to be very, and I'll speak for Jardio since could have been here.
We can always find more Mavods.
He's very adamant about calling out, the Zarya. Tell me when Zarya's bubbles are down. Tell me when Zarya's bubbles down. Tell me when Orissa's use Fortify, or just keeping
tracking cooldowns,
keeping track of the abilities of Genji used Dash, Winston used Leap, Diva used her boosters.
And these are not skills that are unique to May. They're important for any player if they want to get to that's just standard fare in GM.
Absolutely. But with May, you're committing an ultimate to it. If it's not really a CC if they can leave it. But with the interesting thing with Grav that I don't think a lot of people pay attention to or think about because they don't play with May that often is that if there is, let's say they have the meta comp, right? Where it's the Rein, Zarya, Brig, Zen, Mercy, Hanzo. If you throw Grav, they're going to use that Transcendence. Maybe they'll even use Rally. And if you throw Blizzard, by the time that they're frozen, Transcendence is just about to end, and they're all frozen. And then you kill them through Trans because Trans is done and they're frozen for like 2 or 3 more seconds, and you get 2 or 3 picks. So
it's the same way, by the way, that you would want to combo Grav and Hammers. That not that you would Grav and then hammer the Grav immediately, but Hammer's shape has like a circular impact and then kind of like 5 basically hitboxes that travel with a travel speed out in this cone shape. So if a Reinhardt just like walks up to a Grav and puts his hammer right in the middle of it, he can knock them all down right as the Graviton ends to prolong the stun and then have a CC active after Transcendence goes away.
Right. So I guess the question is, so you're saying you don't combo those?
Which one? Sorry.
The Grav and Reinhardt.
Not at the start, but you could combo them, for example, if you wanted to prolong the stun after the Transcendence in order to do the same thing you would be doing with Blizzard, not comboing it right away, which you also could do, especially if they don't have a Trans, for example, because Graviton is CC in the fact that it locks the ability, but Freeze is more like a prolonged stun in the fact that if an opponent uses if you use Graviton and they have like a Reinhardt shield, the Graviton itself doesn't truly stun an opponent, it just prevents their movement. So if you can't get through the Reinhardt shield, then a May ultimate can remove the opponent's ability to move and their ability to use abilities to protect themselves.
Correct. And that's where typically, I'll tell my Reinhardt just like hold the shield, wait for like 3 seconds, and know they're in a Grav. You want to hit them, just wait, because the second they lower their shield, we run the threat of getting shattered yourself.
Yep, absolutely.
And then you can't take advantage of the Blizzard or the Shatter or whatever you're going to follow up. So if you wait, then they get frozen, and their shield, like there's no threat there. And it's, so yeah, the combo there is, I think, is very strong. I
agree. I believe it to be really strong as well.
And you don't need a damage boost for it either.
No.
Like you don't need the Mercy, you don't need the nano boost. You don't
need
the
follow-up after Blizzard and Graviton, it's not like the ults themselves kill, but comboing Grav and Blizzard ensures that just the W keys and your left clicks will be enough to murder them all.
Right.
Okay, let's keep going.
That could have gone better.
Then one.
Do you Blizzard here?
We just got to pick. The Rhine was charging in. I don't think I would have.
I wouldn't have either.
But then you run the question of, well, why didn't I Blizzard if this fight's looking like this? But clean it up. That's good.
That's good. On the scale of nano boost something you'd throw away pretty much off cooldown, and Graviton, something that you'd be saving for perfect opportunities. Where would you rank Blizzard?
Don't be afraid to get a solo kill. Well, that
Don't be afraid
I
to get a
even run
solo
into that
kill.
problem.
Great wall here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
think she-
unfortunate. Your Rhine saved her.
So something right here, I would be playing in the high ground.
So what benefits does the high ground give to a mayor in particular?
So you can see the angle of every position that they're going to be pushing in.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we're just able to see main, but we don't need to see top left. So if they push in and, there's a Hanzo top. But, like, even there, like, the Blizzard, should we really Blizzard there? We already got 2 picks before we even threw the Blizzard, I think. But again, I said use it for a solo pick, but...
You did, but there's no, solo picks are most valuable when they are the first pick of the fight, not when they're the last pick of the fight. Kaluj, thank you for the 15-viewer host. I hope you had a great stream. So we are back on the high ground here.
So this... we were. The position there, you can wall up the top left, you can wall off the mid, you can wall off the bottom left, you can wall off the right side. If we're in the middle of the like just standing in the middle, we can't really wall off the bottom left efficiently. Yeah, see, we got the right side there. So we're getting pretty good walls, but you can see everything. And I think that's where you need to determine where is your wall going to be the most effective.
Are you going to be able to follow up on the walls that you do land at long range?
I guess that's the question of I'm enabling my team.
Okay.
And
so
knowing that
you are trusting your team to follow up on those when you're, say, high left, walling low right. You can't easily transition over there to freeze or headshot yourself.
Right. And you have 5 seconds, and ideally, you hit 1 or 2 shots because they're trying to run back into the wall. Because sometimes they won't even realize, like, they'll walk forward just to, like, Azaria will walk forward to, try to absorb energy. And when they walk backwards, they kind of get locked in this position for a full second or so because you can predict that they're going to try to walk backwards naturally. And then you can get those headshots pretty easy. So right here, like, I would wall immediately because of that type of scenario.
Because of which type of scenario?
Right. Okay. So right when the grab happens.
It was a friendly grab.
True, but the team behind it can like help from the trans or the mercies behind their healing or whatever.
So either wall off the people before the grab happened, or the people who do get grabbed, wall them off from the people who weren't in the grab, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Because maybe that Zen wasn't in the grab. I didn't, I couldn't really see efficiently or whatever. But
yeah,
if you
it's
wall
hard to
off
tell from that
before
angle.
Your grab happens, you wall off right away, then no one can help them if they're on the backside. Because Zen's usually going to be hiding in the back. Like, they're just going to be positioned a little bit further back.
Thoughts on this most recent Blizzard here? I'll just go back 20 seconds.
It's pretty zoning, but it's a Hanzo and a Zarya. They just jump out of it. It does zone them into two separate areas, but I would almost use tough call.
And how many people do you actually encounter in ranked that know that Blizzard is line of sight and not AoE?
Do you mean like if you're hiding behind a wall?
Yeah, like that one particular pillar,
Absolutely.
right? So this pillar right here.
Right. We'll block it.
So if the Zarya just takes like 3 steps, doesn't even have to get out of the area of effect. You can just like hide behind this pillar, and even though you'll be in the animation, you won't get frozen. Is this something that you like? Do you see people abusing this against you, or have people not played against me? Okay. Oh.
Yeah. People know that. So right. I guess what we could do instead of this would be the play to not lose type of scenario.
Oh my goodness! Sorry, Muffin in chat. You know the like really high ranked Eva player didn't know Blizzard was line of sight.
Oh boy. Don't worry.
Don't worry, you're not alone. There's a reason every single time I touch May, a touch of May VOD, I point this out.
Point out the obvious.
I point this out. I point this out because there are so few people. There's like a couple things about Overwatch that so many people do not know. And May's animation would make it look like it's AoE, but it's LOS. Soldier's healing station, also LOS. And the other thing that a lot of people don't know, is that Soldier's Helix rocket when in tactical visor, is also aimbotted. It's not heat seeking, but it is
I did
aimbot.
not know that for a little bit.
Yeah,
but
I didn't know that for
out.
quite a few seasons, actually. So there you go.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people just learned a couple different little fun facts. But there you go.
What about healing and shields? Same thing happens with shields.
Mhm.
Like if well, except for no. May is different on that one.
May is different on
It'll
what?
go through shields.
Yeah, but May will go through shields. But the other thing is that a lot of people don't know that Transcendence is also blocked by barriers.
Right.
So Transcendence, despite being all glowy and shit, is blocked by barriers.
And beat drop.
And beat drop.
And all that jazz.
Yep. Anyway.
Weird consistencies.
Consistency. What do you think this is? So, not Blizzard. And it's fine. It's fine for a game like Overwatch to have these inconsistencies because we have such thorough and accurate documentation about the game.
So if you want to go back to the Blizzard, because we were talking about the Blizzard.
Yes, sorry, we got utterly distracted.
We threw it when we were walking out. So if instead we just like walled and stood in front and forced them to come to us, because then you can stall long enough. It's 5 seconds and then 5 seconds on cryo. Granted, I had no idea Zen and Anna were over there. That in the game in terms of seeing everything. But you could buy Team for your Ryan to come back out and get the shield. And if the team is a Hanzo Widow, someone's going to have to go forward to kill you, at which point you're in melee range, and then you throw the Blizzard at the ground. They have to run away. You freeze them as they're running.
Got teabagged by the Reinhardt. So what are the main issues you're seeing from this Mavod so far?
I think the walls were pretty decent. I mean, like we caught out enough people. Using Blizzard is probably the weakest.
I would agree with you.
We're kind of using it. The fight's already won, and we're just throwing it out there.
Mm-hmm. And even when the fight's not won, we're not getting a lot of value out of it, which admittedly can be hard to do. But we're getting even less value than I would expect, I suppose.
So, in a lot of our Blizzard throws, the thing with the cast time is she kind of underhanded, and she throws it in the air, and then it lands.
Yep.
The accuracy on it, kind of
questionable.
Kind of, yeah. It's not a. It goes.
It's not like an overhand quick ball into a specific spot. It's an underhanded lob, and then it's in that general area.
And you can get more value if you're closer range and you throw it right at your feet or very close to your feet.
Mm-hmm.
If you go up, freeze a target, like let's say it's a diva, because diva's always going to eat your Blizzard. You freeze her, and right when the freeze is going to happen, you throw it at the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It'll actually lock them in freeze.
Yeah, it'll keep them frozen.
Yeah, it's a very short window because I mess it up all the time.
Yeah,
Audio's definitely way better at that than me. And you actually have to like freeze and stop your freeze before they're frozen because the projectile and they'll still freeze.
Do you ever do the throw the Blizzard vertical?
What do you mean?
Throwing the Blizzard directly up.
Oh, I have done it. Yes.
Does it serve many practical purposes?
Sometimes. I mean,
Is there a story here?
No. I mean, I've done a few tests with it, and it seems to do decent every time, because it's like you hear the cast, you're like, oh, they just ate it, or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what you think.
They just expect it to be eaten because it's gone for like 10 seconds. It feels like.
Yeah, and the projectile moves so slow. It sits in the air for so long, and people think it like glitched or gone or eaten or something, and they're like, "Let's go back in."
Yeah. And I've had a fair amount of success with it. Would I recommend it to being your go-to? No.
No.
But if there's a defense where like you don't really know what to do with your Blizzard and it's been getting eaten, or Zarya's been using bubbles on it, just chuck it in the air, see what happens.
I still remember there was a bit of a tangent for me, and an irrelevant tangent at that, but Curry Shot and I queued into a game against each other, and we both ended up on Zarya, and for the entire game, this was on Route 66, for the entire game, and I don't even know how this started. I think he initially launched his grav vertically, but then when I got my grav, I launched mine vertically. And then we just kept doing this the entire Route 66 game, and it was amazing how many people
What happened?
we caught in the
when you got to
grav
point
each and
3?
every single time. I don't think there was a single grav that missed. It was just so funny.
What happened when you got to point 3?
I don't think either of us made it to point 3, honestly.
just get him stuck on the on the platform.
Oh
Take 'em
man,
away.
yeah. Grab one of those moving platforms. Perfect. No, that was a funny game. That was months ago, but goodness, I still remember that. That was good fun. Anyway, attack time. It's not throwing, it's alternative strategies.
Which attack may or the grav upwards?
The grab upwards.
I'll say I don't know that I've done too much attack may on this map, or this iteration of the map.
Mm-hmm.
So, so there, I feel like I use cryo a lot to heal. Not only am I going to be greedy for ult charge, but also to get out of specific damage thresholds.
Yep.
So like a Widow, I would just get so you have 121 health or something close, so that if you get body shot, you can still win the fight. Because there you're just running. I mean, the Widow can body shot you and you lose.
So you're using your cryo basically to get safe from specific breakpoints.
Correct.
Do you also use cryo to dodge specific cooldowns like anti-nades or hooks or things like that?
Absolutely. Anti-nade you can purge off now. It used to not purge it, but now it does. So for sure. Hooks, absolutely. That Widow is stuck. So right there.
Yeah.
You can just section off that team.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's this thin platform.
Yep.
And you just section off the first player or the second player or the third, like just part of it. You don't need to hit the perfect wall that sections off one person in this choke point, because you're trying to take the high ground here. And if you section off the first 2 or 3 people, they get in this panic of like, we're not getting healed. First of all, they can't get healed.
Yeah.
Or, they have a Zen orb type of thing. I don't know about Zen line of sight with Ice Wall. About the orb being removed.
It does get removed, yeah.
If they're okay. Did you know if Sombre's invisible and still in line of sight, it will not get removed?
Wait, what's it again?
If
Sombre is
if Zenyatta discords you,
yeah,
and you go stealth for 6 seconds, or I think it's 6 seconds.
So the LOS check happens regardless of whether or not you're visible.
Yes.
That's dumb.
So sorry. Yes. So it will never get removed if you're close enough to the Zen, or like Zen can quote unquote see you. Like if you can see the Zen, the Discord will never be removed if you're invisible.
What is LOS? Line of sight.
So especially with the infinite invis, then it will never go away until you like get behind a wall. And it's very important because if you come out of invis, there's immediately this it won't show you where you're at. It won't show where you're at. It won't show like the little, my enemy's here, the little whatever it is. But the second you come out of invis, and keep in mind, the invis animation of coming out of invis is like, however long it is. So they have this immediate, there's a Sombre right there, because there's this little thing telling you right where she's at, right when you start to come out of invis.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but they know you're still watching you, because if they're that smart, Zenyatta's, I don't know if they're that smart, but they know you're watching, that you've never broken line of sight, so they know you're still there.
I feel like so few Zenyatas actually know that.
Shh, don't tell them.
Okay, chat. Shh, just between you, me, and Fitzy. Don't tell anyone else. Promise?
Please. What are you going to use with the Sombre
Chat?
tip? No one plays against
Chat?
Sombre.
Promise.
Shh. I want a pinky promise in chat.
Okay, let's see how it actually goes.
So yeah, wall off the first 2 or 3 people, and that forces them even to drop or something. You don't necessarily have to kill them. You're just trying to take advantage of the high ground.
That'd be a perfect wall. Yep. You already lost your Zen, though, which sucks.
Oh, someone left the game. Nice.
Well, that sucks.
Mercy's.
Ooh, that's a big freeze.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. I'm surprised we didn't blizzard there because I think we would catch Mercy, but she could have just flown away.
And you've got
now this would be a blizzard. That would be a blizzard. Like knowing that the Ryan's alone, there's no Zarya. I would totally blizzard that.
so
Simply because I know the
before
Mercy's
we were
behind you.
not using blizzard ever, and now, or sorry, we were now before we were using it off cooldown, and now we're just not using it. Oh, good enough, I guess.
We're still gonna take this
We're
point.
still gonna take it though. How big of a buff did the multi-freeze left clicks actually end up being?
It's not huge, but the slow, because there's also the duration of it being that if they were to break line of sight or whatever, it would still keep them slowed. That definitely helps. But the multi-freeze, it has its uses, especially like in a Grav or in a Rissa pool. And you don't really see them getting frozen, but more of just the slow. So nothing that you'd be like, I need to pick Mei now, but like okay, she needs some work.
Yeah.
This will help her a little bit. So they have the infamous Diva, and we're transitioning more and more over to dive, it looks like. So
is Mei better against Ryan Zarya, Winston Diva, or Orisa Roadhog? Who rate those three opposing tank lineups as best for Mei to fight against and worst for Mei to fight against, and why?
Depends on what you have. But no, the Ryan Zarya is probably the best, followed by Orisa Hog, and then Winston Diva. Mainly because Winston Diva can both leave very easily. They also like Winston getting frozen. He could just ult afterwards. Diva getting frozen. She can bomb afterwards. Diva can eat your thing. And then there's the fact that they're usually running dive with it. They also have a lot of more high ground mobility, so they'll be above you instead of being below you. Then and Diva can also like save people from the freeze. With Orisa Hog you're okay with, but Orisa, it's tough to, she's got her fortify. She isn't very mobile with her shield, but she will shield dance on you. Like she can do the shield dance, whereas like Reinhardt can't. So with Ryan Zarya, you run into the Zarya bubbles. Yeah, it's kind of a pain, but once that's down, you're good to go. And like Ryan has the charge animation, he's not going to leave right away. If you throw a blizzard on Ryan and he doesn't charge directly at you, you can freeze him very easily. Because by the time that it's like, oh shit, there's a blizzard on me, let me charge away. He's leaving. His shield is now gone. Whereas like Orisa and Winston deploy their shield. So if he's leaving, you're doing your job of killing the shield regardless, and then you can pretty much secure that freeze if he tries to run. Also, you can just put a wall up in front of him, whatever direction he's trying to charge. And then with Zarya, again, if the bubble's down, it can be kind of annoying because any target you freeze, she can just give them a bubble, and it actually takes them out of freeze or slow. Yeah.
Against a Tracer, is it better to go for that headshot, or freeze to try and force out blinks?
Go for the headshot.
Go for the headshot.
Not only will first of all, once you hit one headshot, that Tracer is scared. So scared. And every time
you just hit one,
seriously.
You put that Tracer in her place, she'll never try you again.
I mean, she will, but every time you're about to release a right click, she's gonna blink. Like that's just what you have to do. There are times when it's like, you know what, we're just gonna go for the freeze. Where if she used recall, you've seen her use 2 blinks. You're kind of in a closed area. Okay, go for the freeze. If you're like really trying to get the kill, but most of the time you're just kind of trying to be like, shoo, go on, get, and
Get
get her
out.
out of there.
Get.
And it's a one-shot kill, and the risk for you, like her risk of getting very close, is higher than your risk of like surviving against it. Because you have 250 health. If she gets close enough, you can hit that headshot. And if she's at medium range, you can still hit the headshot, and she's not going to kill you in one clip. And if she gets you really low, you just cryo. And so it's a very long fight for the Tracer. That is she getting enough value out of it?
Question is from the chat. How do you play Tracer against Mei? Any insights on that? Or what do Tracers do that when you're playing Mei makes her the most annoying to you?
Sometimes I'll pick Mei over Sombre against Tracer. Just because of the threat of the one-shot. But as Tracer going against Mei, what do? You go in during the reload?
Just focus somebody else on the team? Is that?
You can definitely focus the Mei. It's again kind of that respect of like, there's times where I won't be able to hit the Tracer just because
your aim's not on that day or unlucky.
Yeah, and so they don't have that scare. They don't feel threatened by the headshot. And so they have all that space. So until you hit that first headshot, like Tracer,
they're not afraid of you until you've shown that you're a threat.
Right. Because it's like, are they going to hit this flick shot? I'm all over the place. And so, yeah, I guess push your limits until the Mei hits the headshot. Because if you take a body shot, the second... Like, you can take a body shot and then still recall and have, 2 more chances of body shots. But how to play it, I don't really know, because how many times do you play against a Mei?
Yeah,
and every time there's a Mei
in
the enemy team,
I'll tell you, season
Mei.
12, that's going to be a lot more common.
We'll see.
I think we're going to see more Mei. Definitely. That 150 no damage fall off.
I know.
Right click.
I cannot wait to get those dink, because when you get the dink on Tracer and she's so far away, and you're like, if she was just a little closer.
Even it's now a 2-shot, right? It's headshot, body shot on squishies at any range, including snipers.
Yeah.
So
yes,
you hit 1 shot, regardless of whether it's a body shot or a headshot on a sniper.
Yeah.
They're at risk of death. They've now entered a breakpoint. So
it is true.
It's terrifying now for snipers. So it's the same thing. Like McCree had his damage breakpoints changed. Soldier doesn't really have breakpoints because he's a rapid fire guy, but still, it's interesting. So anyway, the reason I paused it here because I'm sure we're about to use a blizzard, and I wanted your comments on how this blizzard gets used.
All right, let's go.
Well, that was unfortunate.
So if we're gonna do that move and you throw the blizzard, you gotta cryo in the face. Like, you can risk getting the Hanzo there, but if the Winston's in there, just cryo. Like, there's 3 people looking at you. I feel like you can go for the Hanzo, but you gotta, like, you're running straight at him.
What do you think about using the wall to elevate yourself above the wall instead of using the wall to prevent somebody from getting out of range of your blizzard? Don't you want to normally do that?
I think that was.
You think that was fine?
Okay.
Okay.
I think that was an okay move.
Just as kind of like a ways to surprise and not telegraph that you're about to ultimate.
Correct.
Okay.
And it, like, the blizzard did hit. Granted, it was a Moira who can move very fast, a Tracer that can blink, and a Hanzo that can leap. So you're kind of like, it would have been better to use it on the Winston almost, or wall off the Winston.
Yeah, especially like a Winston in Primal, for example, just freeze drop her right there and call it a day. Another unluckers. So many unluckers on 2CP. Is this Fitzy's footage? No, this is a subscriber. You think, Fitzy, got up your game, I guess. People think this is you. Oh, don't start flaming chat. Don't start flaming chat, Fitzy.
I can't hear you if you're talking.
You can't hear me?
I don't know if Discord broke or something. But I heard myself on your stream,
Test,
so I know you
test.
can hear me.
No, my mic is queuing up. My mic is lighting up when I'm talking to you.
Ah, now I gotcha.
What the hell? Can you still hear me?
I can hear you now.
Can you still hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Can you still hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay, we're golden.
I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, let's not talk about it. This is the second time you've got nanoed as May. Interesting choice.
Nano headshots.
I was going to say nano headshots do still kill, so I probably would have just uncryed and killed myself there. Because this is just a stagger now.
Yeah. But you could have outplayed and thrown a blizzard on the ground and killed the Tracer.
I thought you said
the
no
solo-
high risk
the
play. I thought
solo
you said
blizzard.
no high risk plays at the start of this.
You're asserting your dominance.
You are
all right?
asserting your dominance. Come get me now, Tracer.
Dominance, sorry.
Ah, I see. Ooh, there.
Nice.
Nice.
Now the Tracer is so scared. Wall it off, blizzard. Ah, we're down. It's so hard to play the game without hearing any of the death noises.
Mm-hmm. Are we in Masters rank? Yeah. Wally, that's
I feel like the medals are about to be called out.
we're finally getting to the point where people are going to start throwing their medals around. Uh-oh.
See that recall? Okay, I
Mhm.
don't know. That might have catched Stu's pulse.
And now your team's just staggering so hard.
So, we
Nice.
didn't combo the grab there.
Tried to. The grav came out first, and then she chucked the blizzard long range, but it didn't quite reach.
I don't know if we're in team chat either, or rather voice
They
chat.
are in team chat.
Because-
They're just not talking.
Okay. Because I can't hear any of the audio, so I don't. Oh yeah, I see it. Okay. Yeah, because I mean, like even if we're not gonna talk, then hearing like, okay, we're in combo, have blizzard, or just say like, hey, combo grab blizzard, call it out. The problem with May right now is the fact that Grav is always comboed with Hanzo.
Yes.
So
Which is a vastly superior combo.
well, and it just offers, or yeah, it's better.
And it also means you have Hanzo instead of May in the first place.
Well, no. Even if you have Hanzo May,
Oh,
Like-
if you have Hanzo and
because I've had it. I've had Hanzo May. Yeah,
really
absolutely.
interesting.
I've had. And then you like May doesn't have something to combo with,
Mm-hmm.
so then Hanzo's taking all the like glory of.
No, you still
he
still
looks
had
like a
mentioned that
badass.
it's still okay to get 1 or 2 kills with Blizzard,
Correct.
especially if
correct,
they're entry picks.
correct.
And Blizzard can be really good for snowballing or stalling or zoning, so it's got those uses as well.
Problem is, you get the entry pick, and then they grab Hanzo you, and then it's like, well, all right.
Yes, that indeed does happen. Now, Mitzi is actually available here. So, Mitzi, do you mind jumping into the sub chat voice channel on Discord, and then we'll bring you in here to ask Fitzy some questions? Can you still hear me, Fitzy?
Absolutely.
And Mitzi, how are you doing? Did I say your
Hello.
name correctly?
Yes, absolutely.
Mitzi. So, Mitzi, yours is the VOD that we just looked at. So, you saw what we had to think about it. Did you have any more specific questions for Fitzy about May that we could help you out with?
Not specifically to Fitzy, but in general, the previous game you had the game muted.
Mm-hmm.
You missed it. I was getting flamed quite a lot.
Well,
And
Fitzy is no stranger to getting flamed either.
All right, good. What can I do in such a situation if I don't want to swap May?
You put your skill where your mouth is. So you just show them the value, get them to shut up.
Well,
People don't really play with May a lot. They think it's a throw pick. You're not going to change their mind over the course of one game. So
yeah, there's sometimes games where people are so toxic towards me that it very negatively influences the team. And even if I do swap, I then get flamed like you're a Mei main, just go back to Mei, or you can't play anything else. There's not much I can do in those situations, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to run into those scenarios where people are very adamant in their ways, and the game is somewhat already lost at that point. So the best you can do is prove them wrong, and then the rest of your team is like, "What are you talking about? He's kicking ass."
All right, fair enough.
So get the rest of your team to flame the guy who's flaming you. Just
No, but if you join in and be like, "What are you talking about? I'm like," if you try to rebuttal and be like, "What are you talking about? I'm doing good," then you're creating this fight that you don't need to have happen. Like if you're just like, "See, I did pretty good there," and your team starts to back you up, then you have the team morale, and maybe he's like, all right, he's doing okay, I guess.
hesitant to admit it, but it is true.
Right, and they're not gonna, you can't and don't be like, you were saying, like you don't want to try to create this fight that doesn't need to happen.
No, you're right. I usually never talk, really never chat either. And at this point, I've actually been suspended 6 times because of playing Mei. And of course, people are going to think it's for different things and all that, and that's fair. But I never talk, so I'd like to think it's not for toxicity or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But at this point, that is getting my biggest annoyance. Just people flaming me. It happens so often.
I mean, I know personally that I will get moderately annoyed that someone doesn't talk at all, just because of like, in a fast-paced game like Overwatch, text chat just doesn't do the job. But I'm very communication focused. I'm very like, call your combos. What's going on? Someone like you can't be walking and then all of a sudden it's like type, "Oh, Tracer's on me in the back." Like you can't say that. And if you die to it and you don't say anything and then you're like, "Oh, Tracer got me in the back," you're just creating this like, "Well, why aren't you in voice chat?" Even if you are and you're not talking. So that might be part of it too, is the fact that you don't join or don't talk in voice chat. Not to say that like they should report you because you're not talking in voice chat, but that could be a cause of it.
And the other thing, of course, is that like there's some debate between coaches or content creator personalities, about at what rank comms should be used or at what rank comms become important. Some people like myself suggest comms at any rank. Some people like IOStuck suggest that comms are pretty much only to be used at Grandmaster. But basically everyone agrees that Grandmaster comms are very important. And not using comms, not talking is less of a cardinal sin, I suppose. But if you don't have the ability to communicate and participate in that communication at Grandmaster, it is a handicap. Absolutely. 100%. So I understand that when you initially submitted this VOD, you were kind of looking for tips on how to play Mei without communication. But that is at the point you're at, and you're right on the threshold of GM in this VOD. It is very quickly, if it hasn't already, become a major handicap not communicating with your team.
Okay, yeah, that sounds fair. I would agree. There's definitely times where I wish I would have talked. I wish I would have communicated a wall or an ultimate or whatever. So, fair.
Even just saying like, "Hey, this fight, tell me when you're going to grab," or just like before the fight when you're walking toward, like, "Hey, we're gonna grab," like just call a combo. "We're gonna grab Blizzard. Tell me when you're gonna grab," and they're like, "Okay, I'm gonna grab." 2 seconds before they do it, and then to look for it, and it's not like, "Oh wait, I was nowhere near it." Something like that that helps so much to be in the right place at the right time and know what you're looking for. And they know that you're trying to look for a Blizzard, so they'll try to position it to look where you're at. Not necessarily all the time. They're not going to have perfect synergy with random people all the time, but it goes a long way in getting your combos together.
Yeah, I think for me, the problem is I find talking difficult anyway, even outside of the game. So even this talking in this channel now is quite a big step for me, I think.
Well, you're doing great.
Yeah.
Thank you. If I can translate that into the game, that'd be great, but I'm not sure if I can.
Well, pretending to be confident is the first step to actually being confident. So, but Fitzy, one takeaway that we could give Mitzi. So give him one thing that he can work on to do with his ultimate, and one thing that he can work on that has nothing to do with his ultimate. So his other abilities or anything else about the game. Just give him one takeaway from each.
Just one.
Just one. Well, I was using it as just a prompt, but if you have more, go nuts.
What I was just gonna say, because you have to find the opportunity to. Don't use it to win the fight more.
Yes.
Use it to help your team not lose. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the short version.
So, yeah, what Fitzy is basically saying is that there was quite a few times in which you'd used your Blizzard when a fight was already won. So you kind of steamrolled that fight as into being it was winning the fight more, and win more is not useful. There's some heroes or some, like whether it's in Overwatch or any other form of game design, anything that's considered a win more is an ability, a card, a class, a gameplay, a strategy, anything like that that is only good when you're already winning, which makes it completely useless. But Blizzard has the ability to either give your team the advantage or turn the advantage around entirely. So look for those circumstances more than just, you see the opportunity to kill 3 people, but if you already killed 2, just save your Blizzard.
Okay, sounds good.
And then something that he can do with the rest of his May play?
I think the walls, you're pretty good at section off the one person, but you don't have to always look for that to section off one person. You can just wall off 2 or 3. I think the biggest part in that VOD was the little, when you were pushing top right on attack, and there was I think they were mostly all on the high ground. If you just wall off 2 or 3 there, you're going to kill their shield. They're going to have to drop, and then you have the high ground. And that's your main goal there, is to take control of the high ground. Because if there's 3 people, like if the 3 tanks walk forward, you wall them off, they have to drop because they're scared because they don't have their team behind them. Then the other 3, if they drop and then the other 3 people are back there, you have a shield and they don't, so they're also going to have to drop. And then you take control of the high ground.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Any other questions you had for us, Mitzi?
No, that's it. It was a great review, I think. I learned a ton. So
Awesome.
Thank you.
I'm glad.
Good luck with the May and the flame.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good
all the
luck
time.
surviving the flaming, and good luck with the communication as well there. Chat, we'll open it up to you. Do you guys have any questions about anything to do, like anything for Fitzy? It doesn't have to be May related, but of course, if you do have your May questions, feel free to ask. But we'll just give it a couple minutes, and if you have any questions for Fitzy, just post them in chat at myself and Fitzy, so that we can kind of see your questions. Of course, the first one. No. Oh. There's my chat has weird questions sometimes. I'm not even going to read that one out loud.
Twitch chat.
Twitch chat. Okay, still waiting for the first serious question.
I'll let you read it out.
Is it a good trade, or is it good to trade Transcendence for Blizzard?
Are we speaking as Zenyatta or as May?
As May.
Yes. Well, you should be able to kill them through Transcendence. Because if they trans like at the beginning of the Blizzard, then the Blizzard lasts long enough that they'll still be in a vulnerable position.
Mm-hmm.
So,
how useful is using the new teleporter and Diva Bomb for Symmetra?
I don't think so.
You don't think it's very viable?
It's too hard to send it like at the correct angle. Like people just block it anyways.
Mm-hmm. Is the Sombre change a buff or a nerf?
The infamous question.
I'm sure you've had to put up with this question for the last week.
It's more of a change of power that changes her power to more of pre-fight and weaker in mid-fight.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, I don't overall, I still think it's going to be a slight nerf.
Anything? How do you get used to the timing of the left clicks and the timing of the right clicks?
For May, the right click. Well, I mean, you just had to play her a lot. I don't think there's really a
Just play more. I love the answer.
Well,
I love.
I
no,
mean, the
it's,
right
it's-
click.
I do love the questions that you can legitimately answer with just play more.
well, the right click, like, there's no like, okay, the bullet's coming out now. You just have to listen to the noise of like a whatever to hit the flick shots. And then the left click, because you can actually let go of it before they're frozen, and the projectile will freeze them. It's hard to judge how much that person has been hit, especially if you're going in and out of a shield, of if they're going to get frozen. I think something like a freeze meter would go great for May to be like, that person's about to freeze.
Great. Anyway.
But that hasn't been happening. Because there's a lot of instances where I'm like, I was freezing that person for so long. How close was I? Was I just bad? Did something happen? But yeah, that one, again, you just had to play a lot because you're going to be in these scenarios where like not all of your left click is hitting them. So you have to figure out how much of your left click is hitting them, I guess, based on the tick noise that's getting hit.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about the May flanking playstyle?
It has its uses sometimes.
It has its uses. And what are its uses?
So one example, on Anubis point B, I will go May over Sombre like 90% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is I'll flank left side. Don't tell my strats.
Don't tell my strats. Okay, so this will just stay between you and me. I won't tell chat.
Yeah. So eventually the enemy team is going to not realize that you got back there. They're going to overextend. You go step on the point. You wall off the front. They have to like do that awkward jump where they have to go up those stairs because the front's walled off. And then you blizzard right in front of their face. And then they're like, well, shit, I can't walk to spawn. And then your team collapses on them because they're being frozen or they're not getting to point. Or you just get a tick.
Okay. Cool strat. I'll make sure not to tell chat. What do you think about May against Goats comp?
This is the Zarya, Rhine,
Diva, and then Brigitte, Moira, Lucio.
Yeah. It can do okay because the fact that they're going to be super grouped and you can wall off the speed boost Lucio, and if you if you wall off 2 or 3, then you just collapse on those people. So it can do okay. I wouldn't say it's like never pick that against it.
Okay, let me look for one last question. Ooh, this is a long one. Question for Fitzy. When you're trying to climb through GM and top 500, how do you approach private profiles? Do you have to try to push for information to get them on their best roll, or do you just focus on your own play specifically? What are Fitzy's best tips for trying to climb through GM? So I guess one generic question about how to climb from GM to top 500, and how do you do that while dealing with private profiles?
So as long as there's one healer and one tank and one DPS, or, like a doable comp, just go with it. Don't be so adamant. Don't be so adamant about the meta. Like, try to make it work as much as possible. This might be because I play off meta that I'm so easygoing with it. I'm not like, we need to have this composition. This is only working because, people aren't having the team communication on the other side or your side to have the perfect synergy and the perfect whatever. That's why that composition is strong, or whatever composition is strong, because of the synergies and the teamwork. And everyone's in solo queue or whatever. You can make anything work for the most part. I've won with 4 DPS and 5 DPS and 1 healer. It's doable.
Yeah, absolutely.
GM. You just can't let your team morale, like, once team morale starts going down, it's like, if you can't participate in the affecting the team morale going lower, I guess. And some games, people are just, they're tilted. They're not gonna judge for you, or they're not gonna budge for you. They're not gonna be like, yeah, I'll just play Mercy this game. I've lost 4 in a row. They're not gonna, like. There's just some games that are unwinnable too.
Some games are unwinnable. Now,
and if you lose a game because of one of those unwinnable games and you're mad and you're frustrated and you take that into the next game, you're the problem now because your mind is still on this previous game and hating these people on your team and they're on the enemy team. I want to focus that person even though it's not the right thing to do because my hero doesn't counter their hero or whatever. Like you just have to leave it at the previous game.
There was a question, a follow-up to our statements about not using Blizzard when the fight is won or, already lost, and Blizzard's not going to change that. How do you recognize, other than keeping track of, numbers in the kill feed, how do you keep track of when a fight is won or lost? Now, keeping track of who's alive and who's dead is going to be a big part of that. Watching the kill feed.
I mean, this is like, how do you win Overwatch? No,
yeah, right. The question everybody wants to know.
It's just I mean, it takes time at game sense. There's so many times where people are like, "Well, how did you know they had that ult?" And it's like, you just know because they haven't used it and 3 fights have gone by and blah blah blah. So
the way they're acting,
it's like,
and yeah,
what ults do you have? What ults do they have? Can they stop this? What map is it? Are we in overtime? There's all of these scenarios. Like it's a very vague question.
You're going to get better at recognizing those scenarios just with more experience.
Absolutely. And again, my thing with May was playing to not lose. I would stall the shit out of 2CP. Everyone hates it. I love it. I don't hate it. It has its moments where I'm like, okay, here we go. But with May, you can stall the point for forever, especially up until about Diamond. I don't know about now because back then Diamond, whatever. But if your team's gonna lose, I'll give you So Hanamura on point B, defense. I would sit. You can actually get up to the middle archway right above where Hanzo kneels, whatever, in the cinematic. I don't know what that's called. Whatever, you can get up there. So I would just play on the high ground and wait, and I wouldn't drop. And then eventually my team would die. Now I would just make sure I stayed alive. And I'd contribute with walls and right clicks and blah 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 blah. And eventually my team would get to the point where they're losing the fight. And that is when I would throw the Blizzard down. And it would just create this huge AoE where either people back up or they're forced into our spawn type of thing. But at that point though, right, if they back up, they're falling off the ledges of, they're going to take time to walk back up the stairs to get back up.
Mm-hmm.
And having that play to not lose, like I could have used the Blizzard at the beginning of the fight, but then if we start to lose the fight, there's nothing to recover. And on 2CP, being able to retake the point is huge because with 2CP, you can do that without having ultimates. So now you throw an ultimate in there and it's like, oh shit, these people are coming back from spawn and we're frozen. What's going on? And then you retake the thing. You retake it and they don't get that chance until you have Blizzard again. So that's a just wait longer than usual, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends on what SR you're at too, because I feel at about Plat Diamond, that's when people start overusing ultimates. And then Masters is when they start to hold on to their ultimates too long. Not too long, but they start to hold them to we don't need to overkill it. And that's where May's value starts to die off because they didn't commit everything to the one fight that you now stall and bring your team back to it. I don't know if that helped.
Yeah, it was great. This chat really likes long and thorough answers, so don't ever feel like you're over talking. There was one question that was being donated, and it's about contenders level Overwatch. What is the highest level team experience you have, or are you only solo queue?
I have never played in competitive Overwatch in terms of teams. I did StarCraft. That was my professional play type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played lots of Dota 2. Didn't compete in that at all. And then Overwatch, I haven't tried to compete in it.
Just doesn't interest you?
I did do. I'm pretty focused on the stream in terms of that's
fair enough.
Because if I were to go the competitive route, I'd have to drop.
If I
some of
were to
that.
make a dream team of streamers for an open division run.
Do what?
So what? Who?
What?
Great question. Anyway, how does one go about trying out for the Contenders Trials or even Contenders level Overwatch team? If all it takes is to impress the right people, how do you get the chance to impress this person or persons? So first of all, you can make it into Contenders Trials by being top 16 in the open division and then doing a playoff, winning playoffs, because it's top 4 from open division playoffs and bottom 4 from contenders that play in trials. So you either get on an open division team and win a fuck ton of matches, including playoffs on that open division team, or if you want to get recruited directly to a trials or a contenders team, you either need to be a very, very high level, consistent performer on the ladder to the point where people notice you at those high ranks. So like the ladder star approach, in which, top 500 is probably not enough. You're probably looking to be, top 200, top 100 in that regard, if you want to kind of skip the climbing the actual team ladder part of things. The other way that you can do it, which is one that if we're talking about like all practicality, is there's a thing called ringing where you can be a substitute for a lot of different teams, and that's probably the best way to get your name out there and to meet people, is ring for as many high-level teams as you possibly can. And if you are a substitute for a high-ranked team and you perform better than the person you're subbing in for, they'll remember you. And even if you don't perform better, you'll learn from playing with that team. So if you are looking to go pro, I would definitely recommend not only playing on one team, but also ringing for other teams if you have the time to do so. Cool.